As we embark on the next decade of the Women's Empowerment Principles, or so-called WEPs, we are celebrating this milestone by honoring business action to empower women in the Asia-Pacific.
For those who have been making continuous effort, this is the time to showcase your progress and achievements and to champion for sector-wide change.
2020, marking the anniversaries of the Women Empowerment Principles and the Beijing Platform for Action, is an important milestone for driving corporate action on women's equality and inclusion. We now not only have the momentum, but also the power to take our actions to the next level.
AWEN is honored to partner with the UN Women Asia-Pacific Office in hosting the first UN Asia-Pacific WEPs Awards. Highlighting outstanding contributions towards gender equality is vital, because success inspires success, and equality is a strategic key to continued growth and stability in our region.
As CEOs, directors, and leaders of industry, many of you have developed and strengthened gender-inclusive practices, programs, and actions. These inspiring examples need to be showcased, appreciated, and multiplied for wider impact.
All stakeholders, including decision makers, companies, and civil society, must work together and do their part to better support women as business leaders and in the workplace. As we gradually recover from economic crisis, we must build back better.
Signing the WEPs, one of the largest public-private sector efforts for gender equality, is just the first step. Now it's time to fast-track your SDG5 impact. Share your best practices, share your actions, get visible, and inspire others.
If your organization is an organization that is committed to gender equality, promotes the rights of women, and if your CEO or director is heard or seen promoting gender equality, enabling working conditions for women, issues like equal pay for equal work, then it's time that you're acknowledged for it.
Join the ranks of our exceptional corporate leaders making gender-inclusive business a reality.
All companies who are champions of women's empowerment, regardless of size and sector, apply for the UN Women Asia-Pacific Women's Empowerment Principle Awards.
So don't delay and apply for UN Women's WEPs Awards in the Asia-Pacific.
The European Union is proud to partner with UN Women for the Women's Empowerment Principles Awards. These awards are an opportunity to showcase corporate action on gender equality. Your actions speak louder than words. We encourage you to seize this moment and show how your company, your workplace makes a difference. We count on you.
In recent decades, the Asia-Pacific region has made great strides in reducing extreme poverty thanks to vibrant trade and investment. Income and opportunities have risen, driven by innovation and commitment, and women are helping to power this growth. Yet gaps remain on gender equality both in work and in society. The East Asian Pacific region has closed 2/3 of its economic gender gap so far. But to fully close the gap, it could take another 100 years. Closing gender gaps in work and society would add up to $4.5 trillion to the region. To accelerate this timeline, UN Women and the European Union launched WeEmpowerAsia to catalyze business action towards gender equality and increase women's full and equal economic participation. In China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, we work with companies, investors, workers, policymakers, civil society, and a wide range of stakeholders focusing on 3 areas. First, we create an enabling business environment for women. Second, we promote women-owned businesses and gender-inclusive entrepreneurship. And third, we advance gender-inclusive business cultures through the Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs. The WEPs are 7 principles that guide companies to promote gender-equal corporate leadership, inclusive and safe workplaces, equal pay for work of equal value, gender-responsive supply chain, marketing and community advocacy practices, and transparency and accountability of business at large. As we strive to build a more inclusive future for all, join us along with thousands of business leaders around the world who are now driving progress for women, turning their promises into reality, because gender equality is more than just a moral responsibility. It's also great for business.
Dear young Risa.
Dear Nanette.
Dearest Risa, I'm writing from your future self.
These are especially challenging times for the world and for women in particular. You will witness what seems like incredible progress for equality, only to feel disillusioned by what seems like 200 steps back.
To make the most of this life and to be who you truly are means you must be brave every day.
Do not be afraid to speak up and be a strong woman. This is one of the hardest things to adjust to because your generation of Filipinas was raised to keep quiet and let things pass.
It will be frustrating and infuriating. But an important lesson I learned is that frustration and anger can be an amazing and endlessly renewable resource to fuel the positive change that you want to see in the world.
When you turn pain into power, you will realize that the most powerful weapon is a woman's soul on fire.
I once would never have thought I'd be where I am today. Yet, here I am. I've grown by living beyond these stereotypes and doing what matters most to me, regardless of what society told me. And I can tell you this much. Every time you claim space for yourself, wherever you want to be, in spite of people telling you that you don't belong there, you make space for other women.
Another thing that we will learn, hopefully sooner rather than later, is that change is a team sport.
That's why when a strong woman takes charge, celebrate it and support her. Recognize her strengths and encourage her so that there will be more empowered women in the world.
Everyone role models for someone, no matter their station. And those who have been blessed with a bigger audience have a bigger responsibility to model the kind of behavior that they want to see in the world. This is powerful. So it is incredibly important to ask yourself, whenever you can, what behavior are you modeling? Is the world even that just little bit better because you were in it?
No matter what others say, you can open the door for yourself. And when you do, keep the door open for others.
That's the best thing you can do for the future. A generation that's better than us is what really matters.
Keep your head up and don't forget to light the path for others so that they too may find their own way.
Women are powerful, now and always. All things are possible for us.
With hope, Nanette.
Love, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Much love from your future self, Risa.
I am Jos Ortega, the CEO of Havas Ortega Group. We believe in creating a meaningful difference to brands, to businesses, and to the people that we work for and with. That is why we believe in gender equality, inclusivity, and diversity. From our inception in 2012, gender equality has been high in our priorities. In fact, 64% of our employees are women. 67% of our leadership team are women. And my business partner is a brilliant woman, Hermie Delay. As a CEO, my role is to create the environment that allows women leaders to build the next generation of trailblazers. In partnership with Spark Philippines, we developed a communications campaign for I Am Women, an NGO program that supports the women of Marawi. We also collaborated with UN Women to celebrate the 2020 International Women's Day with our Women's Job campaign. It aimed to break gender stereotypes at home. We celebrate the success of our women executives. Shane Madamba, our Chief Digital Officer at Havas Ortega, was included in Campaign's Women to Watch list in Asia-Pacific. And Nadine Kisel, our Vice Chair of the leadership team, represented the Philippine office in the Fem Forward program, which aimed to advance women's roles within Havas and Vivendi networks. Signing the UN WEPs is our commitment to creating long-term change. We invite companies to join us in this program. Let's make a meaningful difference together.
As we embark on the next decade of the Women's Empowerment Principles, or so-called WEPs, we are celebrating this milestone by honoring business action to empower women in the Asia-Pacific.
For those who have been making continuous effort, this is the time to showcase your progress and achievements and to champion for sector-wide change.
2020, marking the anniversaries of the Women Empowerment Principles and the Beijing Platform for Action, is an important milestone for driving corporate action on women's equality and inclusion. We now not only have the momentum, but also the power to take our actions to the next level.
Haven is honored to partner with the UN Women Asia-Pacific Office in hosting the first UN Asia-Pacific WEPs Awards. Highlighting outstanding contributions towards gender equality is vital, because success inspires success, and equality is a strategic key to continued growth and stability in our region.
As CEOs, directors, and leaders of industry, many of you have developed and strengthened gender-inclusive practices, programs, and actions. These inspiring examples need to be showcased, appreciated, and multiplied for wider impact.
All stakeholders, including decision makers, companies, and civil society, must work together and do their part to better support women as business leaders and in the workplace. As we gradually recover from economic crisis, we must build back better.
Signing the WEPs, one of the largest public-private sector efforts for gender equality, is just the first step. Now it's time to fast-track your SDG5 impact. Share your best practices, share your actions, get visible, and inspire others.
If your organization is an organization that is committed to gender equality, promotes the rights of women, and if your CEO or director is heard or seen promoting gender equality, enabling working conditions for women, issues like equal pay for equal work, then it's time that you're acknowledged for it.
Join the ranks of our exceptional corporate leaders making gender-inclusive business a reality.
All companies who are champions of women's empowerment, regardless of size and sector, apply for the UN Women Asia-Pacific Women's Empowerment Principle Awards.
So don't delay and apply for UN Women's WEPs Awards in the Asia-Pacific.
The European Union is proud to partner with UN Women for the Women's Empowerment Principles Awards. These awards are an opportunity to showcase corporate action on gender equality. Your actions speak louder than words. We encourage you to seize this moment and show how your company, your workplace makes a difference. We count on you.
In recent decades, the Asia-Pacific region has made great strides in reducing extreme poverty thanks to vibrant trade and investment. Income and opportunities have risen, driven by innovation and commitment, and women are helping to power this growth. Yet gaps remain on gender equality both in work and in society. The East Asian Pacific region has closed 2/3 of its economic gender gap so far. But to fully close the gap, it could take another 100 years. Closing gender gaps in work and society would add up to $4.5 trillion to the region. To accelerate this timeline, UN Women and the European Union launched WeEmpowerAsia to catalyze business action towards gender equality and increase women's full and equal economic participation. In China, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, we work with companies, investors, workers, policymakers, civil society, and a wide range of stakeholders, focusing on 3 areas. First, we create an enabling business environment for women. Second, we promote women-owned businesses and gender-inclusive entrepreneurship. And third, we advance gender-inclusive business cultures through the Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs. The WEPs are 7 principles that guide companies to promote gender-equal corporate leadership, inclusive and safe workplaces, equal pay for work of equal value, gender-responsive supply chain, marketing and community advocacy practices, and transparency and accountability of business at large. As we strive to build a more inclusive future for all, join us along with thousands of business leaders around the world who are now driving progress for women, turning their promises into reality, because gender equality is more than just a moral responsibility. It's also great for business.
I am Jose Ortega, the CEO of Havas Ortega Group. We believe in creating a meaningful difference to brands, to businesses, and to the people that we work for and with. That is why we believe in gender equality, inclusivity, and diversity. From our inception in 2012, gender equality has been high in our priorities. In fact, 64% of our employees are women. 67% of our leadership team are women. And my business partner is a brilliant woman, Hermie Delin. As a CEO, my role is to create the environment that allows women leaders to build the next generation of trailblazers. In partnership with Spark Philippines, we developed a communications campaign for I Am Women, an NGO program that supports the women of Marawi. We also collaborated with UN Women to celebrate the 2020 International Women's Day with our Women's Job campaign. It aimed to break gender stereotypes at home. We celebrate the success of our women executives. Shane Madamba, our Chief Digital Officer at Havas Ortega, was included in Campaign's Women to Watch list in Asia-Pacific. And Nadine Kisel, our Vice Chair of the leadership team, represented the Philippine office in the Fem Forward program, which aimed to advance women's roles within Havas and Vivendi networks. Signing the UN WEPs is our commitment to creating long-term change. We invite companies to join us in this program. Let's make a meaningful difference together.
Dear young Risa.
Dear Nanette.
Dearest Risa, I'm writing from your future self.
These are especially challenging times for the world and for women in particular. You will witness what seems like incredible progress for equality, only to feel disillusioned by what seems like 200 steps back.
To make the most of this life and to be who you truly are means you must be brave. every day.
Do not be afraid to speak up and be a strong woman. This is one of the hardest things to adjust to because your generation of Filipinas was raised to keep quiet and let things pass.
It will be frustrating and infuriating. But an important lesson I learned is that frustration and anger can be an amazing and endlessly renewable resource to fuel the positive change that you want to see in the world.
When you turn pain into power, you will realize that the most powerful weapon is a woman's soul on fire.
I once would never have thought I'd be where I am today. Yet, here I am. I've grown by living beyond these stereotypes and doing what matters most to me, regardless of what society told me. And I can tell you this much. Every time you claim space for yourself, wherever you want to be, in spite of people telling you that you don't belong there, you make space for other women.
Another thing that we will learn, hopefully sooner rather than later, is that change is a team sport.
That's why when a strong woman takes charge, celebrate it and support her. Recognize her strengths and encourage her so that there will be more empowered women in the world.
Everyone role models for someone, no matter their station. And those who have been blessed with a bigger audience have a bigger responsibility to model the kind of behavior that they want to see in the world. This is powerful. So it is incredibly important to ask yourself, whenever you can, what behavior are you modeling? Is the world even that just little bit better because you were in it?
No matter what others say, you can open the door for yourself. And when you do, keep the door open for others.
That's the best thing you can do for the future. A generation that's better than us is what really matters.
Keep your head up and don't forget to light the path for others so that they too may find their own way.
Women are powerful, now and always. All things are possible for us.
With hope, Nanette.
Love, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Much love from your future self, Risa.
Think about the impact of a signature. Think about the magnitude of a global movement. Think about the difference you can make and the power of transformative change. By signing the Women's Empowerment Principles, you can galvanize your shareholders and stakeholders to drive change in the workplace, marketplace, and community through a framework of 7 principles. Brought to you by UN Women and UN Global Compact, the Women's Empowerment Principles are a roadmap for business sustainability, innovation, and productivity. Businesses by the thousands and in every sector are becoming part of this world-changing movement to advance gender equality. Businesses that become models for attracting talent, entering new markets, serving their communities, and measurably improving the bottom line. Because gender equality means better business. Don't miss this moment to make a lasting impact on your employees, suppliers, customers, and investors. Join leading companies already on the journey to greater sustainability and growth. Commit to the women's empowerment principles and make today your organization's signature moment.
Good evening, everyone. To our nominees, panelists, and viewers, welcome to the first ever Asia-Pacific Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs Awards, brought to you by UN Women EU-funded WeEmpowerAsia program. My name is Gretchen Ho, and I'm so honored to be your host for tonight. With the 7 WEPs principles as guide, more than 3,700 companies worldwide have established policies, introduced initiatives, and implemented programs and projects that promote gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community. So today, in celebration of 10 years of the WEPs, we are unmasking champions, company leaders, companies, and businesses that set the standard for gender diversity and inclusion, allies and entities that are unafraid to lend their voices to the unheard, and of course, the men and women who prove to us time and time again that this is a worthy cause. Because more than an awards show, this is an announcement. Once empowered, women are powerhouses, and they contribute so much to families, communities, and economies. Now, to further share the vision of this awards show, let's all welcome Ms. Maria Rosalyn Lenlen Messina from UN Women WeEmpowerAsia Philippines.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2020 Women's Empowerment Principles Awards National Ceremony in the Philippines. Over a year ago, and a month to be exact, the WeEmpowerAsia team from 7 countries gathered in Bangkok, Thailand, set out to tackle the unfinished business of empowering women through our new groundbreaking program funded by the European Union. Part of it is committing to act as a catalyst for action, as an accelerator for removing the systemic barriers that hold women back from their leadership and equal participation in the economy, and as a platform for bringing together the next generation of companies, business visionaries, and CEOs to chart a new course for gender equality through the women's empowerment principles in their organizations. Collectively, these change makers are seizing the moment to reimagine economies that are gender inclusive so that they uphold their employees' health and well-being, access to education and development opportunities, equal pay, equal sharing of unpaid care and domestic work, and an end to sexual harassment and all forms of gender discrimination. WeEmpowerAsia stands at the center of mobilizing these change makers to make gender equality a lived reality. We mark their achievements tonight with the 18 WEPs Awards finalists and awardees joining us on the 10th anniversary of the WEPs. It is very encouraging to note that as we get to know our champions better tonight, they will further enrich our active and dynamic WEPs community of more than 3,800 signatory business leaders globally. Their concrete steps will further steer supply chains fully towards gender-inclusive trade in the region. It is indeed a great contribution and a pride for our country too. I am also very pleased to note that the Philippines is hosting the very first National WEPs Awards in the region, and this would not have been possible without the support of the EU, key partners, and collaborators. In this unprecedented time, what we need is partnership, collaboration, and unity. And as we unmask our champions tonight, I invite all of you to join our champions and become a WEPs signatory, partner, or an advocate. If you are a CEO or may know one, do encourage them to sign a statement of support. Signing it will just be the first step. But we all need to take action, no matter how small or big they are, to create a gender-equal future and better tomorrow for all of us. And now, to officially take us forward, I am honored to introduce to you the head of the delegation of the European Union to the Philippines, Mr. Thomas Wirsing, to give his opening remarks. Thank you very much and good evening to all of us.
Vice President Leni Robredo, Vita Rasulian, Ambassador of Austria, and at the same time European Union's Gender Champion in the Philippines, Katja Freiwald, WeEmpowerAsia Regional Manager from UN Women Asia-Pacific, Gustavo Gonzalez, UN Resident Coordinator, Carla Silbert, Officer in Charge of UN Women Philippines, awardees, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Today we will recognize business leaders and businesses who have adapted and implemented exemplary practices that promote gender equality and that steered the COVID-19 response towards safeguarding employees and customers. They all signed the Women's Empowerment Principles established by the United Nations, and they are a powerful inspiration for more individuals, allies, and companies to step forward with exemplary solutions on gender equality in the workplace. Gender equality and women empowerment are at the core of the European Union's values. Women are key agents of development and change. In the Philippines, women's labor force participation rate is still lower compared to men, and women are more likely to have lower quality employment than men. Hence, the private sector is part of the solution and can make a difference in bridging the gender gaps. It has a key role to play in providing financial support, training and employment opportunities to women. In this time of crisis, the European Union is happy to help and to support activities and projects that promote women economic empowerment. One of these is the EU-funded WeEmpowerAsia program of UN Women. The 7 Women Empowerment Principles are a wonderful tool for change for all of us. These principles offer guidance to businesses and organizations on how to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in the workplace, marketplace, and community. They foster responsible business conduct such as equal pay for work of equal value, gender-responsive supply chain practices, and zero tolerance against sexual harassment in the workplace. Support to the Women's Empowerment Principles has gathered global momentum. Thousands of companies worldwide are now gender champions and thus contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals. My sincere congratulations to the awardees of the first UN Women Asia-Pacific Women Empowerment Principles Award ceremony. Thank you for your attention. Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas Wirsing, for giving us a reminder of what the EU-funded WeEmpowerAsia program and this WEPs Awards show truly stands for. Empowering women empowers the economy. That's why tonight, we are unmasking the need for more diversity in leadership. And there's no better person to talk about this than our keynote speaker. As a woman in the spotlight, she leads by example. Thankfully, she's gracing us tonight with her wisdom. Let's all welcome the Honorable Vice President of the Philippines herself, Maria Leonor Leni Herona Robredo.
My warmest greetings to everyone joining us online for the first ever UN Women Asia-Pacific Women's Empowerment Principles Awards, and congratulations to all the awardees and nominees. I hope you are all safe and well. We hold this gathering at a time of great disruption brought by COVID-19. Around the world, healthcare systems are buckling under tremendous strain, economies are shrinking, and entire populations edge closer to poverty and hunger. But with the virus still threatening the lives of our people, the issues of gender and women empowerment should not take a backseat. If anything, they take on even greater urgency today. The pandemic has shown us that we are all interconnected, that the health of those at the margins is tied to the safety of all, that we operate under a single economic system, and the suffering of even the smallest part of this system prevents them from contributing fully to this system and thus prevents the rest from fulfilling their utmost potential. Progress has always depended on ensuring that those in the margins, including women, who are bearing the disproportionate brunt of the pandemic's impact, can survive and even thrive. So while the pandemic might have radically changed the context, the task at hand remains even more urgent: to find and reach out to the last, the least, and the lost of our sisters, to empower and inspire them, and equip and enable them to do the same for others. This is not something a single organization can do on its own, which is why it gives me great hope to see that there are so many of us who share this vision or are willing to do the work. At the Office of the Vice President, we have seen firsthand how the public and private sectors can work together to create meaningful change, especially for women. Despite our limited mandate and resources, our office has been able to do so much, thanks to the trust and generosity of private individuals and organizations who align with our vision and values. All our efforts, especially during the pandemic, were made possible through partnerships with various private groups. Whether it is for helping rural women jumpstart their businesses and reach bigger markets through our workshop for aspiring women entrepreneurs, or for helping micro-entrepreneurs, many of whom are stay-at-home mothers, establish an online presence and harness technology through our Bayanihan Mart at escaparate.com. Like many of you, the pandemic forced the OVP to reorient many of its programs towards building a better normal, but the economic empowerment of women remains a cornerstone of our efforts. We believe that their economic empowerment is the first step to genuine empowerment. And as leaders in the private sector, you are well positioned to help Filipinas take this step. Beyond plugging gaps and addressing specific needs, you can help steer and complement public policy towards equality and greater empowerment. You can show your fellow leaders, both in the private and public sectors, that indeed equality means business, that more than simply being the right thing to do, empowerment pays off. People live better, workforces become more productive, the bottom line for all is raised, countries grow faster, and in the context of COVID-19, we recover stronger. Our vision is to build a world where women from all walks of life are given the chance to succeed. For this to happen, we need you to keep doing what you do, but we also need more of us to do the work. More of us to rise to the moment, more of us to widen the path for others to follow. We need leaders like you to push for more of your peers in the private sector, to nurture gender-responsive business cultures, to help build an inclusive and equitable economy, to let more women lead, participate, and access better opportunities. We still have so much to do to achieve our vision. But today's event is proof positive that we are not alone, that there are many of us working to build a truly better normal, one that is more inclusive, that is more equitable, that truly empowers women. With companies and leaders like you, I have faith that this better normal is close at hand. Again, congratulations to all our nominees and awardees. Maraming salamat, mabuhay kayong lahat.
Maraming salamat, VP Leni Robredo, for that powerful speech. Tonight, as you can see, we have inspirational voices with us to listen and learn from. Joining this set of speakers is someone who has made it a goal to become a voice for the voiceless. Let's all send a virtual round of applause for the Austrian ambassador and EU gender champion, Her Excellency, Ambassador Bita Rasulian.
Good evening, everyone. Allow me please to start by acknowledging the distinguished presence tonight of Her Excellency Vice President Leni Robredo, His Excellency UN Resident Coordinator Gustavo Gonzalez, Mr. Thomas Wiesing, Chargé d'Affaires of the EU delegation, representatives of UN Women Philippines and WeEmpowerAsia, distinguished guests, partners, and advocates for gender equality, dear awards nominees and awardees, welcome and good evening. Tonight, the European Union joins you in celebrating trailblazers and defenders of equality in the business world. I am honored, both as Austrian ambassador and as EU gender champion, to be part of this first ever Philippines WEP Awards of WeEmpowerAsia. This program of UN Women, funded and implemented in partnership with the European Union, aims to raise awareness for the pivotal role played by businesses to create more inclusive and equitable economies and to achieve the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Gender is a cross-cutting issue across all SDG goals, from health, education, work, energy, environment, to good governance and more. But to successfully achieve these goals, we must tap into the experience, the talent, and the expertise of more than half of the world's population, of women and girls worldwide. This requires concerted action and genuine effort by us all, by all actors in society, including those in the private sector. The EU remains fully committed to inclusion and gender parity, a key priority also of Austria's foreign policy. At the Austrian Embassy, we have always championed the empowerment of women, be it through our project I Am Women in Marawi, empowering women through skills training and financial literacy to rebuild the war-torn societies, or through our Leadership Excellence Awards that applaud the courage and competence of young girls across the Philippines who take the lead and work towards constructive change, progress, and development in their communities. Ensuring women's equal opportunity, economic justice and rights remains a challenging task, one that has sadly become even more complex with the COVID-19 pandemic. This crisis has amplified gender-based inequalities and put at risk even the limited, fragile gains women have made in the past decades. To rebuild our societies better and stronger, we must put women at the center stage of all recovery efforts. Unleashing the power of women, the economic power of women, is more crucial today than ever before. I'm delighted to note, as EU Gender Champion, that the Women's Empowerment Principles provides a comprehensive guide, a clear roadmap at hand for the private sector to harness the powers of gender equality and inclusion towards economic and social growth. The adoption of these 7 principles by a growing number of businesses in the Philippines bears testimony to their impact and overarching significance. The benefits of gender inclusion are clear. Diversity and gender parity in business operations and value chains translate into greater talent, higher productivity, more customers, and greater returns. Investing in women is thus not just the right thing to do, but also the smart thing to do. As private sector leaders here today, you are uniquely positioned to serve as role models. Our society, young generations and millennials, look at you, at the private sector, as a trendsetter for their future dreams. To the awardees tonight, thank you and congratulations also on behalf of the European Union. You have clearly recognized the urgency for a deeper, accelerated, and more ambitious response to the Agenda 2030 and its gender-related targets for women in the Philippines and around the globe. As EU Gender Champion, it's my hope that you will continue to make positive change to the structural discrimination against women and remove the barriers that have kept them on the margins of economic and social progress. Allow me to conclude with an appeal to women. Let us remind ourselves, be it as young students, consumers, mothers, sisters, private or public sector leaders, that leadership is not only outside in, but also inside out. We, as women, must believe in ourselves. We must change our mindset. We must strive for higher ground, strive for leadership, take a seat at the table, raise our voices, and make ourselves heard. For only through the full participation of both genders and support of all sectors can we ensure that no one is left behind, and that together we build the safe, prosperous, and sustainable future that we collectively want for ourselves and our children. I thank you all for your leadership and strong commitment toward this goal. Congratulations, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat at maraming salamat.
Thank you, Her Excellency Ambassador Bita Rasulian, for the eye-opening message. I'm definitely feeling the spirit of celebration surrounding us all tonight. It's truly a beautiful evening, but even more beautiful is what it stands for. Because this celebration is more than a moment, it's a commitment. In recognition of this, I am honored to present to you the first ever Women's Empowerment Principles Awards Trophy. Allow me to take you through it and the bigger picture it symbolizes. On the trophy, we have the universal symbol of gender equality, surrounded by two abstract hands showing care and protection. These hands, extending downwards, resemble the tip of a pen, which signifies the act of signing the Women's Empowerment Principles to champion gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community. Like the change brought by our champions, this trophy transcends beyond tonight. It's a concrete commemoration of our WEPs awardees' achievements and their commitments to enact change with the Women's Empowerment Principles as a guideline. With that, I'm sure you're all excited for tonight's awaited moment. But before we move on to the announcement of exemplary champions for gender equality and their solutions, we'd like to introduce to you the equally exemplary panelists from different fields that carefully reviewed the entries. Let's all send a virtual round of applause to welcome Ms. Marian Olsen, Senior Social Development Specialist at the UN Resident Coordinator's Office in the Philippines. Dr. Nathalie Lourdes Verceles, Director for the Center of Women's and Gender Studies at the University of the Philippines. Attorney Jesus Torres, Director for the Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights Center at the Commission on Human Rights. Ms. Marivic Españo, Chairperson and CEO of Punong Bayan and Araulio Grant Thornton, Philippines. And Ms. Cynthia Arce, Executive Director for the UN Global Compact Network, Philippines. This set of panelists definitely prove that when it comes to gender equality and women's empowerment in business, we mean business. Thank you so much for joining us tonight as we unmask today's champions. It's finally time to announce tonight's awardees. We have so many nominees tonight, and every single entry is a win for gender equality. Let's get started with the first category.
Equality in the workplace is not only the right thing to do, it is also the smart thing to do, and the nominees for this category are proof of it. The Gender Inclusive Workplace Award recognizes corporations that went above and beyond adopting gender-inclusive measures in the workplace. This includes innovative approaches to promote equal recruitment, support for flexible work arrangements, initiatives to address the unequal care burdens at home, accelerating progress towards equal pay, and more. Though all the nominees are truly well-deserving, this company stood out the most with solutions that are worthy of admiration and emulation.
Thank you so much, Professor Nathalie Verceles. And now the winners for Gender Inclusive Workplace are... Our second runner-up for Gender Inclusive Workplace is... Our first runner-up for Gender Inclusive Workplace is... And now, our champion for Gender Inclusive Workplace is...
Great leaders do not only set standards, they challenge it. The Leadership Commitment Award embodies transformative leaders in corporations who are instrumental in setting strong corporate commitments, inclusive of progressive policies that promote gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and the community. The winner for this category has raised a bar that inspired others to take responsibilities within the company and has made public commitments to enact change.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marivic Españo. So the winners for Leadership Commitment are... Our second runner-up for Leadership Commitment is... Our first runner-up for Leadership Commitment is... And our champion for Leadership Commitment is...
Real business success is measured through their impact on society. And the nominees for the Community and Industry Engagement Award has made it a business priority to create a positive change for gender equality, not only within their company, but also in the community around them. This category recognizes corporate champions that promote gender equality through community and industry engagement, whether it's integrating gender equality into their CSR strategies or supporting and collaborating with NGOs that promote gender equality. The winner of this category took actions that created change within their entire industry and raised more gender-responsive standards.
Thank you so much, Attorney Jesus Torres. The winners for Community and Industry Engagement are... Our second runner-up for Community and Industry Engagement is... Our first runner-up for Community and Industry Engagement is... And our champion for Community and Industry Engagement is...
This category recognizes companies for creating a more inclusive marketplace. They embrace and empower women entrepreneurs, champion supplier diversity, and create gender-responsive marketing and advertising. The winner of the Gender Responsive Marketplace Award has gone above and beyond to integrate gender equality as a strategic part of their business operations.
And the winners for Gender Responsive Marketplace are our second runner-up for Gender Responsive Marketplace is our first runner-up for Gender Responsive Marketplace is and now our champion for Gender Responsive Marketplace is
The fight for gender equality is a long-term battle. Thankfully, we can trust the youth of today to create a better tomorrow. This category recognizes youth leaders under the age of 30 who have made significant contributions promoting gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and the community with their cross-cutting approaches. The winner of this award proves that age is just a number and gender is just a label. For this champion, character is the true decisive factor for leadership.
and the winners for youth leadership are our second runner-up for youth leadership is our first runner-up for youth leadership is and to top that off, our champion for youth leadership is
This year, COVID-19 has created more than one outbreak. There's the pandemic we're all too familiar with, and then there's the surge in gender inequality cases amidst the economic crisis. This award recognises companies and leaders who have stepped up to promote gender-inclusive practices in the context of COVID-19. The winner of this award adopted gender-sensitive responses to support female and male employees, raised awareness of women's needs during the pandemic, and encouraged female leadership amidst this trying time. Their quick response is a show of unity and commitment that we all should look up to.
And now the winners for COVID-19 action are our second runner-up for COVID-19 action is our first runner-up for COVID-19 action is and our champion for COVID-19 action is Congratulations to all of our awardees. Your voices in your respective industries have become powerful forces for advancing gender equality. So in celebration, We've invited renowned voices on stage to share their talents and lift us up as you continue to champion and inspire others moving forward. And to join us today to perform an intermission number, let's all welcome Para sa Sine.
Watch this woman. See how she comes in with the sun on her face. Every wrinkle is a mark made by golden drops. Each line a story of a time she laughed. Stories she probably can't remember but will try to tell anyway.
Sinadayang-dayang silang bagsik. Kung bandel, iway-way sa tiba ay naka-lipstick pa.
Sisimulan nating mahalin ang isa't isa. Kung sisimulan nating pagugnayin ang iyong pagsasakapangyarihan at ang pagkawala ng aking kapangyarihan. Tayo magkapatid kung makikilala at makahaplos natin ang ating mga sakit, tulad ng paghaplos natin sa sikat ng buwan kahit na ito'y napakalayo at tila di nangyayari. Kung tayo'y tatangis sapagkat may isang babaeng lumuluha. Kung ating mayayakap ang nagdurusang kabaro kahit pa nadarama natin ang sarili nating mga sugat. Kung tayo, habang natutuyo ang ating mga luha ay hahalakhak sa paglisan ng ating mga basahin. Kung tatapusin natin ang ating pagkaumig kahit na mahirap hagilapin ang mga katagang paglalarawan sa lumalawak na lungkot ng pagkawala ng mga pag-ibig at pag-asa.
Watch this woman's hands, how they are always so full yet always so empty. What she's holding never stays with her for long. This is how she loves. Her hands know nothing else but to love. Her hands love me when they pack my favorite food into plastic boxes for me to take home. Her hands love me when they do their magic mending on the rips and tears in my clothes. Her hands love me when they insist on doing dishes so I don't have to. This woman's hands could feed armies, and she does it like every day's tomorrow is a final battle.
Mga bayaning dilagat, marami sila. Kasaysayang katibayang isinilang kang matabang.
Kung may pipinta natin ang paglubog ng araw sa ating mga puso habang sinasalubong natin ang pagsikat ng bagong araw na sumisilang sa lulungawan ng ating mga buhay. Kung makikita natin ang buhay ng pangungulila at pagtanda at pag-iisa bilang sarili nating buhay. Kung mararamdaman natin ang bawat araw ng bawat isa na tila katapusan na ng daigdig dahil ang kamatayan ay naririyan lamang sa ating paanan at naghahanap ng mga katawan bilang simulain para sa pagbabago at muling pagsilang at para sa kinabukasan.
See her eyes, how God must have placed diamonds instead when He made them. See how they twinkle whenever someone she loves enters the room, how they glitter whenever someone she loves speaks. See how clear are the tears that so easily flow from them, how all it takes is a single tug at her heart for it to become a spring. See how pride gleams from them whenever she travels miles north to watch this woman.
Maaangkin natin ang kulubot ng mukha ng ating mga kapatid na ngayon nagbubungkal sa mga huling taon ng kanilang buhay at makita sa kanila ang ating sariling kulubot na mukha. Kung sa pagkaubid ng ating mga tinig may iwan ng mainit na haplos ng ating pagiging tao at pagkamatapat, tulad ng pangalawang balat, tulad ng pangalawang tinig sa utak, tulad ng isang awit, tulad ng isang himig na di nawawaglig sa ating alaala.
Lola, this woman wants you to know that she watches you. She sees you, and her love for you often leaves her without words except right now. And And this woman wishes she's got numberless days left to watch you, but for now, she says, let's keep watching each other until the day comes where you're both dancing before the face of eternity. This woman's hands could feed armies, and she does it like every day's tomorrow is a final battle. A woman loves fiercely with every fiber of her body.
Sinadayang-dayang selang pagsik, kumander, liwayway, sa tigma ay nakalipstick pa. Pinapakilala ko lang sa'yo, matitinig na babae sa lahi mo. Kaya mong maniwala, tingnan mo lang ang nanay mo. Di ba hanip ko, masintay si Pinuro, may tigmaan pa. Huwag nang panghinaan tayo, ang pinakamaganda tinig sa lalamunan. Pinapaalala ko lang sa'yo.
Taray magandang balat, alam natin ang haplos na noon ay may mga matang sumisiyag kahit nasa pinakapusikit natin mga kapatid. Kung tayo sa ating magsbong at
Matinig ng babae sa lahi mo.
maaalala natin ang kapangyarihan sa una na sa kamatayan o kawalan ng pag-asa. Umaangkin natin ang bawat buhay ng bawat isa sa atin. Kung tayo ay magiging totoong tao at
Maniwala.
kung makita natin ang panginoon sa likod luha, ng ngiti o luha,
Narito kami
at
para
umaangkin natin
sa'yo.
ang kanilang kaligayahan. Kung tayo ay magiging totoong tao at kababaihan, sisimulan natin mahalin ang isa't isa.
Now that we've unmasked today's inspiring champions of gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community, we'd like to put the spotlight on the exemplary platforms and unmasked solutions they've brought to the table. And with that said, I'd like to invite tonight's WEPs Awards champions and the UN Women and We Empower Asia Regional Manager, Ms. Katya Freewald, for a quick roundtable discussion.
Thank you, Christian, and many thanks again. And from our side here at UN Women, congratulations to all our winners and champions. I think winning the awards tonight is a really wonderful recognition for all your efforts. And I think our collective purpose to move all of us closer together to our joint objective of achieving gender equality. And I think what is really special is we're doing this at a very particular important moment where we have to make a conscious choice all together to build back better together in a more gender inclusive way. But I think tonight is not only about you or your companies who won these WEPs Awards. I think it's much more, and I think you would be all in agreement with us, about the impact that you are making by the actions that you are awarded for. The impacts that you are having on the women in your value chains, the impacts on the women and girls that you have in the communities that you are serving, the impacts on the employees that you are working with, but also the impacts, not to forget, that you are having on other leaders out there to take similar actions. And I'm really, really pleased to be here with all of you and also with you, Gretchen, to help us to really moderate the second part of tonight, because I think this is really an important one. It's a roundtable conversation that brings leaders together and really start a series of hopefully many, many more conversations in the future that we have together to really shift the needle on gender equality. With this, over to you, Gretchen, and hopefully to all of us a very engaging conversation.
Thank you so much to our UN Women and We Empower Asia Regional Manager, Ms. Katya Freewald, for that. If there is one thing that we have learned throughout this pandemic is that when it comes to impact, our actions impact the rest of the world. A great evening again, once again, to everybody here who has attended our awarding night. And I think that if we held this event in person people would be screaming right now because it's such an honor to win recognitions from UN Women, and it's an honor to do this. The first ever in the region Asia-Pacific, and we are in a room full of empowered women and men who help make gender equality happen. Good evening once again, and thank you. And right now, I know that everybody's happy. Apart from winning their awards, it's also 11/11 here in the Philippines, which means there's a lot of sale. And I hope you've had a great day and a great night so far. And I'm sure that our champions are feeling like winners for the whole day. Let's have a recap of our winners and our categories. First of all, for the Gender Inclusive Workplace Award, a congratulations to our second runner-up, Manulife Philippines. Our first runner-up, Shell Philippines. And our champion, Coca-Cola Far East Limited Philippines. Let's get some words from the head of Coca-Cola, Director for Public Affairs and Sustainability, Ms. Jonna De Lumen Pernia. Magandang gabi.
Hi, Gretchen. I think it's interesting that you said it's difficult to celebrate alone because you were all squealing after. So thanks for this. Thank you to the UN WEPs team for giving us this award. I think what's interesting for me is the two awards that we got. So I'm getting ahead of myself on the other award. We do support gender inclusiveness in the workplace, and we saw an opportunity to do that. And we've been doing that for so many years. But aside from doing it internally, we saw an opportunity to do it within our value chain. And it's been great to support the Sari Sari store owners that are operated mainly by women. 9 out of 10 Sari Sari store owners are women. And we saw that they are competent, but they don't have the confidence. And we have provided training that have allowed them to flourish their business, especially during this pandemic. So again, thank you. It's been an honor to be part of this night. And this is for all the young women who ever question themselves if they can do it. It is possible.
Congratulations to Coca-Cola Philippines. Just a little bit of a fact here. They are very proud to have at least 50% women in every level of their organization. And I think that very much proves why they deserve this award. Gender Inclusive Workplace, congratulations. Coca-Cola Far East Limited Philippines. Next up, we have our Leadership Commitment Award. Our second runner-up is Bagosphere Philippines Incorporated. Our first runner-up is Felta Multimedia Incorporated. And our champion, Great Women. Let's have our founder, the CEO of Great Women. She is with us tonight to give some few words, Ms. Jeannie Havelosa. Good evening.
Good evening. And I'm a little speechless because it's like 2 awards, right? And the work we do on the ground has always been work we believed in as a mission in our life. And to be recognized is just something, it's like trying to it takes your breath away. But it's not about me alone, you know. Leadership is about just leading a whole group of people. And this is what we are as leaders. We must be able to inspire and bring people together to see what the gaps are and to be able to show that all of us can do this together. Leadership cannot happen without a whole core group behind. And all the people who's in our supply chain that have worked with us have made Great Women successful. So I do not take full ownership of this award, but it's everybody who's worked in the Great Women Project, in the Great Women Platform, in our foundation, our micro-entrepreneurs from the north to the south, in the food and as well as that in the non-food area, and everybody else. So I do not take full credit for this award because it is about women working together, because at the end of it, that's the strength. In full collaboration to be able to look at the gaps required, what is needed for them, what are the weaknesses that we can look at, and at the end stand for what we believe in. That women are great together.
Spoken like a true woman, Miss Jeannie Havelosa. I love it. And we empower each other. No egos. We learn, we identify weaknesses, and we improve. Congratulations to Great Women for winning the Leadership Commitment Award. Next up, we have our Community and Industry Engagement Award. Our second runner-up is We Serve Systems International Incorporated. Our first runner-up is QBO Innovation Hub. And let's bring back our winner, our champion for this category, Coca-Cola Far East Limited Philippines, Miss Zona. What does this award mean to you? You're on mute?
Hello. Okay, there you go. Hi, good evening again. I touched on earlier that women play an important role not only internally but externally, and I think there are more women that are disempowered or having gender biases outside, and we've gotten away from just focusing on women empowerment internally because there's huge opportunity out there, starting with the sari stores that we support and is part of our value chain. And hopefully, as we expand more, there are more women that will gain confidence to be whoever they want to be. So thanks again.
And I'm sure that this will give an added boost of confidence to the whole Coca-Cola Philippines. Congratulations. Next, we have our Gender Responsive Marketplace Award, our second runner-up, Pelta Multimedia Incorporated. Our first runner-up, Shell Philippines. And again, our champion, Great Women, Miss Jeannie. Welcome back.
Hello. Hello, in the space of women. In the space of women, if great women cannot show itself, then we're really not great. So for this, I want to say that the whole supply chain, from the little woman farmer, the little weaver, the little one who starts her little business, all the way to the marketplace, and every woman who supports this market access, financial access, and all to support the little people is what the supply chain is about. And how can we create the strength in women-owned businesses is what we're all about. So again, it's we just lead to vision something that others hopefully can follow. So at the end of it, I'm so grateful for this award because all the hard work of all these years, you know, when we signed, and I personally signed the Women Economic Principles Award when this was launched in the UN in 10 years ago, it was as an individual. Now I stand as a company and a brand and a platform for the country that I hope that we continue to be able to bring more of our smaller micro entrepreneurs into this space because it's the only way they're going to be able to get a better life. So thank you. Yeah.
If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And for those who are unfamiliar, GREAT actually means Gender Responsive Economic Actions for Transformation of Women. That's what Great Women means. And they are certainly led by a great woman. Thank you so much, Miss Jeannie Havelosa. Let's go now to our young ones, our Youth Leadership Award. Congratulations to our second runner-up. Part of, I'd like to call myself part of this family, Life Cycles Philippines. I'm a cyclist myself, Kisha Mayuga. Congratulations. Our first runner-up, Vilgro Philippines. And our champion, QBO Innovation Hub. Let's welcome the Executive Director for a few words, Ms. Katrina Chan.
Hello. This is such an honor. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for this recognition. It's indeed a huge, huge honor. And, you know, like it's actually not QBO, but Kubo, which, you know, really stands for Bayanihan or teamwork and what we believe, you know, is required, right, to grow the startup community here in the Philippines. I'm so grateful for our founding partners, both in the government and the private sector that, you know, collaborated and started this Bayanihan journey with us, and especially investing in women for, you know, helping us grow our Startup Pinay program. You know, this recognition is really all about how we can empower our Startup Pinays, right? The founders, the women, the women-led businesses and tech that are innovating, that are creating impact, that are really building and shaping the future, right? And, you know, we believe one day, like, this industry will, you know, it will be super normal, right, for women to be, you know, part of creating all of these unique solutions. And, you know, and most importantly, right, like when talking about youth leadership, the whole Kubo team the cuties with a Q, as they like to call themselves. It's a very young team also, like bringing together this fantastic community, and we're so excited to bring forward our work in Startup Pinay and see how much more we can do, right? Like as women leaders and founders, and in building the future together with tech. So what an honor. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for this recognition, and yeah, go startups.
Congratulations, our winner for youth leadership. That's Kubo.
Yes, that's right. Kubo.
Innovation Hub, ang ganda ng pangalan nyo. I love it. Oo. And great job, great work on putting more women in tech. Next up, let's go to our COVID-19 award. Our second runner-up, People Pods Philippines. Our first runner-up, Connected Women. And our champion, Agrea Agricultural Systems International Incorporated. And joining us tonight is a good friend, the President and CEO of Agrea, Miss Cherry Atilano. Magandang gabi sa'yo.
Wow, thank you so much. This award actually is dedicated to all the women, of our farming communities, especially during this COVID pandemic, because they were the one who are real frontliners, are heroes. And I'm getting emotional because, during this COVID-19, this is actually a very beautiful award for all the women of farming community in the supply chain. I'm a witness to this, and when cash is king in the farming community, we made it cash is queen because of our women. We really made sure that all the tomatoes are safe, all the carrots are saved from our Benguet farmers. And more importantly, I'm dedicating this award to my team. As this award is not because of me or whatever. I'm just a voice for this, and my team really made this happen. We are there every day together with our farming communities, our team in the supply chain, and all the people who believe in us, our customers who believe in us, and most of those are women. Maraming salamat po, and we will continue our work on the ground. Because at the end of the day, they said that women are always the first to plant, the first to grow, the first to harvest, but the last and the least to eat. And we want to change that table. We want the women to be the first and always to eat the most. Maraming salamat.
Because we love to eat, especially on lockdown. And this girl deserves to eat. Definitely, she's been hard at work since the pandemic started. Congratulations, Agrea, Cherry Atilano. And congratulations once again to all of our winners. I'm sure you all bring the chains of women and men behind you. Your teams are definitely very, very proud of you. And at this point, let's have all of our champions with us again. And let's bring back Miss Katia Freewald for a quick roundtable discussion. And since we are already spending this night with empowered women, it's nice to learn from everybody. I'd like to start off the conversation by asking you guys, what does this award mean to you? Specifically to your category. We have been beset by the pandemic. It's been about 8 months already. What does this mean to you? Let's start off with Coca-Cola Philippines, Miss Jonah. Oh, I think her internet was cut off. We are in the middle of a typhoon. So let's start with Miss Jeannie. Miss Jeannie, what do your awards mean to you? You won 2 awards for great women. What is the significance of this win?
Okay, both for the leadership and commitment, and that for the marketplace of integrating the supply chain. What does it mean? We don't work for the awards. And so when the awards come, it's like candy for the moment, the enjoyment. I'm totally enjoying the chance of being able to know that all our hard work, our heartbreaks, our heartaches, and all the challenges that we have gone through, not just myself, my business partners, all our women in the ground and all of us who have tried to work together with the different stakeholders, there have always been intense challenges, especially in trying to begin something which was never there, in trying to begin something which, when you look at it, was a whole complete supply chain. No? And so leadership cannot buckle down. When you believe in something and when you see something good, you go for it with all the best intentions that you can, because it's not just for yourself, it's for other people. So it means that the leadership award for me, I really feel like I really feel more like a servant leader more than anything else, because at the end, really, it's not about me. It's really about what can we do together, and I'm just catalyst to be able to create this space. On the integrated supply chain, it was a gap that was required and needed. And as I mentioned, even 10 years ago when the WEPs was first created, and when our first brand, Eco Store, was put there, we had signed on. And the second brand is Great Women, has become the earmark of all of this, what the WEP stands for. Everything we have worked on and continue to work on is all about the WEPs. So it's not like we went out of our way to follow what the WEPs was doing. We were already doing it. And to be recognized for this is really icing on the cake, because it doesn't stop us from doing the work that we do. Because at the end, me and my business partners see it as a mission-led business. Two brands, mission-led business that can catapult our country on a national level towards a regional space, towards an international speak that can speak on behalf of an integrated supply chain, where every part of that is about empowering the women, gaps of financial management and literacy, market access, organization requirements, market directions, product development. I mean, I can name it all. But integrating a full supply chain with all the different stakeholders, I think it gives you candy for now, the icing. I'm totally enjoying it because it's not been easy. So I'm just going to enjoy the award. And for they're screaming, they're going to scream with me, because I'm not alone in this. Great Women is about a plural women. It's not great woman. It's great women.
Wow.
Great Women is plural, and therefore together, holding hands in collaboration. We must work together. No egos, guys, no egos. Because at the end of it, it's not about us. It's really not about us. It's about what we can share and leave to everybody else so that they can have their power. And that's why this is important, because it gives us a space to speak about this. Leadership is not about our egos. It's about what we can give and leave behind, so that they, the smaller women, the micro entrepreneurs, those who think they do not have anything, are empowered, so they become great women in their spaces, whether they are SMEs, whether they are micro women, or whether they are bigger in business. Let's link everybody together, because that is where the power is. That's what it means.
Beautifully said. And I think that nurturing is really one of the biggest strengths of having female leaders in positions in organizations like yours. Pero before I go to the next, have you been very busy this pandemic? I'm just very curious.
Oh yeah, it's like pivot on all sides. You know, you pivot on all sides as best you can. Especially, we're a social enterprise, and I think the heartbreak, this whole pandemic, the heartbreak has been, and not just for myself, but for my business partners also, has been to say no to the small micro entrepreneurs, to say no, we cannot continue producing, no, we cannot buy your work, no, we cannot sell, there's no market, no, we have to think for ourselves for now. But then, like just this morning and after lunch, we had webinars with our micro entrepreneurs, and you see that you've touched them and you've given them something, and you can leave them behind. You've created leaders on the ground, and that's it. You create the best you can and leave them to it, and you have nothing more to say. You step back. And that's what I think what leadership is, because the commitment is to see that the small and the disempowered finally have a voice and stand up, because they're empowered and they create their own spaces. And for me, this pandemic has been, it's teaching them about your inner spirit, your space inside? How do you become self-confident in a time when everything seems to be so dark? How do you bring your balik kalooban in the time in the pandemic where it seems like there's nothing around except to open up to each other? And that's all we can do. We cannot buy everything at this point. We can't even help ourselves enough, right? We're just helping ourselves. But I think that they can see that. You know, when I went to Blay in up there beyond Baguio, no, just for a quick trip, they said to me, just the mere fact that you showed up to say hello to us does not leave us with hope, with no hope. It gives us hope to continue because you will continue. For me, that's it. I mean, there's nothing more we can give at this point except ourselves.
Do what you can with what you have.
Do what we can. Yeah.
And also this time is teaching us to trust more and to let go, right? Let go. Let's go to Jonah. Jonah's back. Jonah, what does this award mean to Coca-Cola Philippines? You are a big company. You know, what does this highlight or impact? How will this award impact your organization?
So Coca-Cola has strived to be a gender equal company since the beginning. And since we appointed our first board director globally, that's a woman in 1934. And this is a testament to all the women that came before us who fought for their seat on the table and has shown that women can have a powerful voice. We all know that as we invest in women, you also invest in the families, you also invest in the communities. That multiplier factor is something that we've seen and has proven that as strong as our business is, the community also is stronger. And the women having a strong source of income, confidence, the business also says the same. So it's a testament to all those who have gone ahead of us, but I'm also proud to be working for a company that has enabled women like me to have a seat at the table. Recently, personally, I mean, seeing the vice presidential elections, I told my daughter, who's 3 years old, that you can be anything. And it's great to be in a company that truly supports women to be anything and to be in any place in the organization.
I love it. Kamala Harris, first ever female vice president of the United States. Vice president-elect, by the way. Not yet final, but yeah, you know. Let's go to Katrina. Katrina, what does this award mean to Kubo and putting more women in tech in general?
Yeah, so it's really, we've, you know, thanks to the inspiring women also that are in this panel with me now, right? And through the work that's been done, right? Like it's become, you know, in so many fields, women have really excelled, right? And shown how they can lead, and they've led through their example and how they're doing it, right? But in tech, there's still some gaps. Like, I think it's still a lot easier for us to imagine a tech startup founder being, I don't know, like a Jack Ma or a Mark Zuckerberg, right? And it's still not something that we can see ourselves in as women, right? But at the same time, tech is shaping our world. It's building like all of these things in the future that maybe we don't that even I don't know yet at this time, right? And it's so important that we begin to see like the women leaders and founders, right, being part of this process of building the innovations and the tech that will be shaping our future. So that's why this, you know, this award and even, you know, all of this work that we're doing for Startup Pinay is so important. You know, I would love just to see more women, right, like really take the lead in these tech companies. And, you know, in the same way that we've had female presidents and female chief justices and, you know, women at the top of the field, right, in so many, and that so much work has been done, like there's so much more opportunity for this to be a reality in our industry. And yeah, like it's that's why it's so important for us and our team, the Kubo Cuties. And again, there's also something to be said, I think, about the, you know, the women's perspective on things, right? Like, so, in designing the solutions, in coming up with impact and how tech companies are built and how they're scaled up. It's so important that like we find ourselves like not just giving input, but really actively kind of shaping the discussion and designing these solutions, for ourselves, and it makes for better businesses, better products, right? Like I think the world will be a much better place like when we all work together, both men and women, right, to create like these solutions. So that's why it's so meaningful to us. And yeah, and again, I guess coming from the other perspective, right, from the youth, again, it's all about at Kubo, like the heart of our ethos is the bayanihan, or the teamwork, collaboration, community. So we have all of these we have all these puns to kind of remind ourselves of what's really important at the core of all of what's driving our actions, right? And it's it's about working together, and it's also us being startups ourselves with the startups, right, building on this what's already been started and creating a community around it, and that's really what's going to make this very powerful. So
I love the emphasis on teams, on families, on organizations, everybody empowering other people. I mean, I think that's the common theme of everybody and what we've been talking about. It's not just about leaders at the helm, but everybody, making sure that everybody's taken care of. And I hope to see more women in tech. I'm sure this pandemic will produce a multitude of startups.
solving some of our problems today, right? Like,
hopefully more morally conscious technology and social media. And speaking of more women, I hope to see more of that in agriculture as well. Cherry, I know that you've been working so hard. I've been seeing your feed throughout this pandemic. What does this mean to Agrea? And syempre yung mga kasama natin na magsasaka or farmers.
Actually, Gretchen, what makes me so happy with this award is I'm with amazing women. I actually respect it. Jenny Havilosa, my Ilongga tita.
Call me tita. I refuse.
No calling titas here.
During this pandemic, he is like my kasangga, kabagang, kate. We've been consulting. How do I sell this? How do I sell this? So, we've been coordinating. And second one, I think I can call Jonah ate. So Jonah worked together when I was 21 years old. My God, Jonah, it's 13 years ago. We worked together.
That was good.
The
By Gutom, and here you are feeding so many people.
Bayan Anihan program of Gawad Kalinga. We were both working all over the Philippines. And until now, I'm in the agriculture sector. And of course, with Katrina Chan, we've been using Kubo for our events for youth in agriculture. It's so wonderful. This entire award alone is actually building an ecosystem and a community. And in Agria, we always believe that we build an ecology of dignity that is founded on ecosystem rather than ecosystem. So in our company, the first time I was brought up by a single mom. So in our company in Agria, we really decided that we always give opportunities to single mothers. We always give opportunities to mothers in the farming communities who are actually needing help. And this award means so much because, despite those mothers contributing a lot to the agriculture sector, they're not recognized a lot. They seems to have not having a voice in this kind of conversation. And for us in the agriculture sector, right, I've been always like, let's make farming sexy. Let's glamorize agriculture. Even if it's so dirty, let's see gold in dirt, in soil. It's because it's the only way that we can give more voices to women in the farming sector. And this award, every time, we receive an award, we share this to our farming communities, especially to our team. Actually, to my team who's watching right now. Yeah, we're always attending our awards together. Thank you so much for the support. As per Tita Jenny, we always have the same values.
Don't that call me Tita
Hey,
Jenny.
Jenny.
I refuse to be called Tita Jenny.
Okay, Jenny. Pero I call her Tita in text. Okay, correct me in text. This award is so beautiful because we're such a lean team in our operation, and we work right now with more than 23,000 farmers all over the country. And 21,000 of that farmers are actually just during this COVID pandemic. Imagine, what Jenny was saying, that's correct na ha, what Jenny was saying a while ago, imagine the supply chain, how difficult it is. And during this pandemic, it was so difficult. You need to call Roro and cargos and everything. And all the time, the point person on the ground are the women, because they are the ones hungry enough to bring food on their table. They are the ones hungry enough to have budget at home. So all those women who mobilized in our operation during this COVID pandemic, who actually help us build our business better, we will continue helping them. More than 50% of them are women, and we're sharing this award with them. And I'm so happy to actually bring this, recognition to our farming communities. Yeah, it means so much.
Congratulations to all of our farmers, and I think we definitely need more voices in the agricultural industry. I have a question, and this is so random. Did the plantito culture help the agricultural sector? Because we talk about glamorizing farming and everybody is into plants right now. So did that in effect help also our farmers? Or is that a totally separate industry?
It actually helped our farmers. Some of the plantitas and the plantitos are mostly focused on the ornamental plants, or gardens. And it helps a lot of the farmers, the gardeners, especially in Cavite, Bulacan, Pampanga, and Laguna. But at the same time, we also have a lot of plantitas and plantitos in the rural areas, and even here in the urban areas planting vegetables right now. Never in my 22 years in the agriculture sector, since 12 years old, I started teaching farmers. It's the only time during this 2020, the pandemic, that the conversation in agriculture actually got mainstream. So it's a conversation that you never heard before. That's why I really like having this. Let's make farming sexy. It's like a wild dream. And this pandemic, the silver lining is everything got trajectorized. Second silver lining, I guess I must say, during this pandemic, with the intervention of a lot of women in the supply chain. Before, it takes 5 to 8 layers of traders to disrupt the agricultural supply chain. But during this pandemic, it was just the farmers, like Agria, our organization, and some online markets that we supply, and the consumers. Imagine we shortened the gap immediately just in the past few months. So this is a very beautiful indication that we can move forward better with the agriculture sector.
There's definitely a lot that we can do now, and the words are right. Silver linings of this pandemic, definitely. It's so nice to see people becoming more environmentally conscious also because of the pandemic, and seeing people wanting to take better care of their health and their surroundings and build a more nurturing home. And if there's somebody who I met recently and got into that, and he's been staying in his farm for the past months, it's Piolo Pascual. So no, I just met up with him over the weekend, and he told me, "Oh, I came from my farm in Batangas, and it's so it's life changing to farm." And he's been saying that he's sad that the typhoon damaged their crops, and he's with his mom and everything else, and he definitely can make agriculture sexy. gusto ko lang sabihin. But speaking of silver linings, and we're talking about different industries here, do you see more opportunities that can be formed for women in this pandemic? I mean, when it comes to, for example, value chains, Miss Jeannie.
I believe that we have already started the whole skeletal formats of what we call the supply chain. I think women will find out that they have even more chances to be able to do businesses from their homes. Like we've been trying to launch, we haven't launched it yet fully. This Great Women Nourish, it's an app. It was our pivot to be able to make sure that women who are cooking from home can actually sell through this app, or women businesses can sell through this app. But again, the challenges of COVID has been so difficult to be able to launch it properly. But then you find little women working, cooking, selling, and becoming their own little enterprise from the home space. And that is a great opportunity. But again, that has to be linked to a marketplace. It has to be in a space where they can actually make sure that they're creating profit and that they're not losing from it, that they're creating some kind of impact. So I believe there are a lot of opportunities for this. The COVID time can also show you the opportunity of the different women who rise up to be leaders. Remember, you come up with leaders in points of crisis. Yeah? The strength of the woman comes up during crises. And more than anything else, this is the perfect time where everybody seems to be rising up. Yeah, Cherry was talking about how we'd be talking 1 a.m. in the morning, trying to think of how we're going to be able to work the supply chain. I mean, I go all the way to Quezon in Banahaw, to Baguio in Tublay, and all of them are like waiting and saying, how do we connect? Because you see, the connection is the most important thing for the women. The connection, not only because they're going to be able to sell to you, but because they're learning from you. Sometimes what you think you is nothing is already something they hold on to for a direction. You just think, oh, I'm just sharing something that is really nothing to me, but they hold on to it as a direction for what they're going to do next, which goes to show that at the end, a supply chain, the integration of the supply chain needs to have that kind of relational, personal connection. It's not just because I'll buy from you and I'll make a profit from you because I need your supply. No, because you know their family, you know that they are going to impact their own little supply chain as they bring their product to market, as you help them make their products better to go to market, as you bring it under your brand to go to market. It doesn't matter which way, but they are part of your supply chain. And there's a sense of responsibility that it's not just about buying what is needed for that moment, but how can we see this in the longer term? And I think that's a difference with being a social enterprise, but rather than just pure business, because the heart is just as strong in being able to find the value for their lives, right? It's not about just the profit. We know this, the profit, the planet, which we've always stood for before, the profit, the planet, the people, but that the passion that the people have for their work is something you can instigate, because the passion brings good products, the passion brings good relationships, and the passion for what they do brings their life in a much nicer space. So this value chain is so crucial because it has so much things that support life and the quality of life, not just making money, right? It's about the quality of the lives we lead and live, right? And so now with COVID right now, it's like we are not looking at what we are doing all the time. We are being forced to look at how we are being. And I believe that this supply chain and this value chain during this COVID period, at least for us, I can say for us, has been how can we best be who we are when we know we don't have the big funds to buy, we can't even sell it in the market. We're going to keep trying if we can, right? But at the end of that, how can you be in that chain so that that chain strengthens itself? That's really what I believe in, that this is a value we bring together,
Building connections and nurturing relationships, those are definitely two strengths of a woman, and that is what we need in a time of crisis. And that's also the reason why women leaders have emerged out of this pandemic. Just to wrap up the discussion, what is your advice for everybody out there, for women who want to take their place and own their spaces? Can you give me your advice in 2 sentences? Let's start off with Katrina.
In 2 sentences. Well, I think specifically for women that are thinking of starting up, like, just do it. Give it a try, right? You'll never know like what's possible until you actually go for it, try out that idea, and then, lean into your network, right? Like build those relationships. Don't try to go at it alone. I think you've rightly pointed out that it's a strength of women to be able to come together and build relationships, and that's so, it's going to be key to our success. But before saying anything else, right, just give it a shot, go for it, you can do it, right? So
just do it and give it a try. That's for Katrina. Miss Jonna, what is your advice for women out there?
As women, our worst critic is ourselves, and I believe that has always held me back to go up. But then the support system that you put around you, women like Cherry and Miss Jeannie who are here, help you build that confidence, because women have the competence. Women always prepare. So I believe it's really about believing in yourself and having the confidence and building the right community that will see you more than you see yourself.
Believe in yourself and build your confidence. That's from Miss Jonna. Cherry, your advice to women out there?
I'll share my advice that my mom gave me when I was 6 years old. My mom said to me that I need to connect the shortest distance in life, and that's the distance between my brain and my heart. If I don't know to connect the shortest distance, forget about being a woman. Because she told me, and being successful, she told me, I don't want you to be a successful daughter. I want you to be relevant and significant. So I think that's a powerful message that I keep in my heart for the longest time.
Shorten the distance between your brain and your heart and be relevant and significant. Ganda. Ganda naman na ng pabao ni Mami. And Miss Jeannie, how about you? What is your advice to everybody listening, all the women who want to be like you, who want to also empower other people?
The borders we create in our mind are just imaginary illusions. The horizon is open for the success of your life as much as you want it to be. When you hold hands together, the power is even stronger. And so we rage forward, rage is the word, rage forward to break the boundaries that have always kept us down, because that is what it is to be a woman today.
Beautifully said, and what a way to end this awards night. Congratulations once again to all of you for breaking boundaries, for just continuing to prove that we can do it. We as women, you're not defined by a gender, but we can definitely use our strengths to help other people build better connections, build better foundations, nurture those relationships, and build an ecosystem of trust and empowerment. Now, this has been a wonderful dialogue that has left all of us inspired and empowered. Thank you for being with us for this very important part of the UN Women Empowerment Principles Awards. Again, this is the first ever in the region in Asia-Pacific. And so we would like to invite everybody for a photo op. Let's do it in batches. Group photos first with everybody. If you can please kindly turn your cameras on so we can see everybody. All right. 3, 2, 1, smile. Our next group. There you go. All right. In 3, 2, 1, smile. Let's bring in now our judges. Our judges, let's smile for the photo. 3, 2, 1. Oh, those were our VIPs. We have our judges now. 3, 2, 1. And our group of finalists. All right. One more. 3, 2, 1. Smile. There you go. Beautiful photos. 3, 2, 1, smile. Just keep smiling. There you have it. Okay, congratulations again to all of our finalists and all of our champions. It's definitely been an honor delivering the awards for you guys. I know we are in the face of a typhoon, but this is welcome good news for everybody here in the Philippines and will definitely give us a boost as we go along the rest of the year, Christmas season, and the rest of 2021. This evening of honoring companies and organizations for their exemplary practice embracing the women's empowerment principles in the Asia-Pacific region would not have been possible without the help of our distinguished judges and, of course, our organizers for tonight. Here they are with the winners who serve as inspiration to us all. These are people who are committed to creating solutions to continue uplifting women in workplaces, marketplaces, and communities. Let's all give them a virtual round of applause from our homes to show our appreciation. Congratulations po sa inyong lahat. At kung tayo ay nasa actual event, we would probably be so joyful and shouting our hearts out for these women who have inspired us all night. And at this point, I'd like to welcome back Ms. Katya Freewald for her final message.
Thank you very much, Christian. And luckily there was a photo session in between us, because otherwise I would have been too humbled actually to really listen to our last roundtable. Wonderful woman. I've been really touched, and so I'm gonna not stick to my talking points, and I'm just gonna really start with really thanking everyone for making this such a meaningful exchange, and I think a very fruitful evening for all of us. I think we've heard a lot in these last couple of minutes around nurturing and bringing everybody together. And again, a very warm felt thank you to all of our partners, and particularly also to my colleagues in the Philippines, namely Len and her team, to really bringing us all together and have the opportunity to discuss today and to be together. So really thank you so much. And not to forget, I think we have also created hopefully some inspiration out there with all the people watching on live streaming, inspire more private sector companies, entrepreneurs, investors, change makers and policies to join this really great movement around the women's empowerment principles. But I think a bigger movement even, which namely within UN Women, we have launched a great global campaign, which is called Generation Equality. And I think this is an opportunity for everyone to participate, for every person, no matter their gender, hometown, age, preference, in races or religion, is really something where we really want to engage everyone to be part of achieving an equal world for everyone and unleash the rights and opportunities for all women and girls. And I'm just going to also start talking about a couple of things that I've noted down when you were speaking. I think, Jonah, you mentioned there are a lot of the achievements that you see for the moment in your companies. They are coming because women have been fighting so far on this journey and have brought us to be here today where we are. But I think we also recognize that we have to accelerate this journey and we can't stop here. And I just want to remind all of us in this closing remarks about that 2020 has been really an important year for gender equality. I think it has been an important year and special year for all of us, but it has been the 25th anniversary this year of the Beijing Platform for Action, the platform for achieving gender equality. And it's also the 10th anniversary that we are celebrating of UN Women and the women's empowerment principles. But I think with Jonah's words, we need to follow these women that have really created the space and led us to where we are today, but really step from today onward and into 2021, really let's make this a decade or a new decade, a decade of equality, starting with sharing equal care responsibilities at home, or really securing equal pay for equal work, or equal representation in decision making. I think these are all areas that we can achieve and where business is crucial for it. So I think this is a key message I really want to land, is the instrumental role that businesses have to really lead us on this journey. And from a UN Women perspective, our vision of economic justice and rights is that women across the full spectrum of the labor market and the supply chains, about which many of you talk tonight, where women really have a voice and a choice in the work that they are doing. And I think I cannot close without just really kind of reflecting also a little bit on that we are really bouncing back from the COVID-19 crisis. And I mean, the Philippines also, you were mentioning the typhoon that is in the back of the cameras today. I think we really need to focus jointly together and putting women in the center of our recovery and the efforts that you're taking, because still very often women are seen as the beneficiaries. And as we clearly heard tonight, they are not. They are the key enablers, the contributors, the leaders, the frontliners. We have heard about the webinars with your micro entrepreneurs and really the change makers that they are on the ground. Or Katarina, I think you mentioned the importance of leaders in business to really create an enabling environment for other women in your operations, but also create the space for startups. And I cannot deny, I'm very passionate and really vibrant. Let's move on this jointly together. I just want to close this and tell
Today, we not only unmask champions, but also solutions. May this be the first set of many more equality champions as we welcome more signatories of the Women's Empowerment Principles. To close the ceremony on a powerful and inspiring note, let's welcome on stage the UN Resident Coordinator in the Philippines, Mr. Gustavo Gonzalez.
This is indeed an amazing and promising night to remember, and I would like to convey my sincere congratulations to the awardees. We know now what is needed to become a champion for gender equality. As you know, the vision of the United Nations is that food, healthcare, water, education, decent work, and social security are not commodities for sale to those who can afford them, but basic human rights to which we are all entitled. And for that, we have to reduce inequality. We still live in a male-dominated world with a male-dominated culture and have done so for millennia. We also know that gender equality is not a simple sociological discussion, it is fundamentally a question of power. Centuries of discrimination have created a gender power gap in our economies, in our political system, in our corporations. Our commitment to promote economic justice and rights by addressing gender discrimination can transform the way we do business. But this should not be a singular effort by a leader or a specific group within the company. We need action on all fronts. Working for gender equality means working for an open, inclusive, and sustainable society. The United Nations recognizes that everyone can be an ally for equality. And this evening's winners reveal to us that businesses and enterprises, no matter the size and sector, are capable partners for action. We have seen these past years growing and vibrant movements of women all over the world calling for urgent systematic change. They are advancing gender equality and demanding accountability from governments and other powerful actors. These movements are proposing bold new alternatives for the different world. The COVID-19 pandemic is presenting a number of challenges, but also opportunities to enhance the gender equality agenda and empower, as we are doing this evening, the champions for gender equality. Let us send a clear message to everyone that women's rights are human rights and that gender equality is central to all the Sustainable Development Goals. I thank you and wish you a wonderful night.
Thank you to our winners, nominees, panelists, and viewers for attending the first ever Asia-Pacific Women's Empowerment Principles Awards in the Philippines, brought to you by UN Women and the EU-funded WeEmpowerAsia program. Without you and your amazing contributions, this wouldn't be possible. May we all continue to champion gender equality in our workplaces, marketplaces, and communities to create a generation of equality in business. Again, if you are a CEO or you know of one, talk to them about signing the CEO Statement of Support for the WEPs. Just go to WeEmpowerAsia.org to learn more. There's so much progress we've achieved through the years, but we definitely have a long way to go. May we all be part of the solution in closing the gender gap and unleashing the powers and contributions of women in our communities, companies, and society. To officially end the celebration, let's all send a virtual round of applause as a final congratulations to today's champions.